Let's build this beautiful case. All right, to get started, we're going to need our 2 microfiber cloths, a very small Phillips head screwdriver, and a small tipped flathead screwdriver. And thank you, Wicked Brick, for including instructions now. Now let's go ahead and set that to the side. We start off with the very bottom base plate. We flip it over so the upside down is exposed. And in my experience, the Perspex logo film is always on the outside. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this film off so we can install our 3M pads. Take your 3M pads out, and we're going to place them all around to get an idea of where we want them. We're not pulling the sticker off the bottom just yet. Now that we have the 3M pads distributed evenly, we'll go ahead and attach them. Now, a little tip I found with the pad, if you grab the felt part of it with your fingernail and flick the paper, it usually comes right off. Now, when installing my felt pads, I like to put them right where the case will sit into the base, because that's where you're going to need support for the outside. And I just distributed them evenly on the inside, what I have left. Now that's done, we'll flip it over, set it to the side, and grab our top base plate. On this edition, the studs are in the blueprint, so we don't have to pop them out and take the little rings that are typically around them off. So now we can just remove the top film. Now on printed backgrounds, you're only going to have a film to remove on one side. That is an absolutely beautiful print of Coruscant. Now that we have that top film off, we're going to take the film off our 2 stems. The stem with the hook goes on the left-hand side if you're facing the front of the case, because this hook is where the Venator is going to hook onto when you take the back support panel off. Now when putting a stand together, anytime you see a notch like this and it's facing up instead of down, and you can tell the direction by the 2 studs that go into the plate, that means these go on first, because this one will slide in just like that. Now I've had some where the support stem that holds the 2 stems that hold whatever it is you're mounting go on first, because these lines were facing up on that. Now, when putting this in, it is a very tight fit, so make sure you're lined up. Use your microfiber cloths, because even if you wear gloves, 9 times out of 10 you're going to rip your gloves in this position. Now that the stand is assembled, we'll slide it onto the bottom base plate. Now remember, acrylic, plexiglass, whatever you want to call it, is very strong, but in this size it is very flimsy. Magnets hold it into place, and now we can slide this back. And put on our plaque. our numbered board, and the 20th anniversary Lego piece that goes right here. We have our plaque, numbered brick installed, and our stand installed. And that is just absolutely gorgeous. Now that that's done, we're going to move this whole ensemble to the side and start with the actual case. Now, when we build the case, we start with the printed background. And you'll know the difference in the side because the film side goes all the way to the end, while the printed background just falls short. Do not take the film completely off, only peel up the edges all around the border. We want to keep the film on so we can keep it as clean as possible, as long as possible. Now that we have the edges all peeled up, let's go ahead and open our boxes that have our connecting blocks and screws in them, and put one block and one screw by every single hole. Now you don't need your screwdriver yet. Just take your screw, push it through the bottom, and then hand tighten your block. Not all the way, leave a little bit of slack. And you also want to think about the positioning because there's 3 screw holes. And the only time you're going to use all 3 screw holes is in the top corner. So in this certain position, we want the screw hole facing out and down because this is the bottom of the case. So we're going to be attaching a side, and then we got to hide the other screw hole. And then do that with the rest of the blocks. Now that we've got all our blocks in, I'll go over the way I position them. This being the top, that being the bottom, that being out. The bottom one I have facing out and down, so you don't see it. The same with the middle one, because unless you're looking at the case from the low ground, you're not going to see it. Now this top right hand corner is out and up, because we're going to be attaching the side panel and the top panel, aka the roof. Now these 2 top middle ones, the screw hole that we're not using, I chose to point them inwards directly at each other because I believe that would be the best way to hide them, because if you're looking from the side of the case, you're most likely going to be looking from this end so you can see the lights I have on the engine. Another top corner, so out and up, side piece, out and down, other bottom piece, out and down. Now we can attach our first side panel. Now the directions say that all the engraving lines face out. I've always installed the engraving lines in because my thought on the process was less area to collect dust. But we'll follow the instructions on this one and have this facing out. First, line up the case to make sure that it fits into position. If it doesn't fit into position, just rotate it. Now that you've made sure it fits into position, do the same thing with this that you did with the back plate. Just peel all the edges off. Now you'll notice on the side with the engraving, it's made easy for you. All you have to do is pull it completely off. But I still pull back some, so that way it's not so hard to fully remove the film covering when it's time. Now that we have our right panel on, we're going to stand it up very carefully. And we're going to tighten the bottom two connectors fully. That's the bottom connector and the middle connector. Both side and back. We leave the top one loose because we still have to attach the lid. And we want to have a little bit of play in it when we screw in the top screw. And now it's time to attach the left side. Now when you do the front plate, go ahead and take this outer strip off that's outside the engraving line. Take that completely off and don't peel anything else because this is the outside. Instead, flip it over and peel the border just like you did with every other panel that we've assembled. After you peel up the corners, spread out your cubes and your 1 screw per cube and attach them in the same direction in the same manner that you did the back plate. Not totally tight, loose, just loose enough to have some play in it. Now that we have all the cubes attached and facing the proper direction on the front plate, we're going to remove all inner film, including the one on the front plate. That is a beautiful background. We even got the 2 missiles that chased Anakin in the bottom left-hand corner. I would have loved to have seen his little fighter in there. That'd have been awesome. I don't know how copyright laws work, so maybe they couldn't put that in there, but that's a nice little touch. Background and the bottom print are just beautiful. Okay, now that all the inner film's off, go ahead and attach your front plate. And when you're done attaching your front plate, you can tighten all but the top cubes. Now that we've got all 4 sides on, we want to go ahead, pick up our case, and set it to the side, like so. And then grab our base. And the reason we're doing this is because acrylic, plexiglass, whatever you want to call it, is very flimsy at this size. So if you put the lid on first, it's not going to be very conducive or easy to fit everything in the track where it needs to go. Because you want to make sure your corners and all your pegs go in. Now we can install the top. Now there is no grooves on the top or etchings, so I really don't think it matters which direction you put it on, but remove the inside first. Once you've got your lid secure, go ahead and go through and tighten all your screws one final time, and then we can remove the rest of the paper and see our beautiful case assembled. Okay, now it's time to mount the Venator onto the stand. We're going to remove these 2 pieces and these back top panels. Remember to take your red pins out and put them back into the center of the yellow plates where they were originally. Take the other side off. Now let's take our brick separator and we're going to remove these 2 front panels that are right in front of the orange studs that we're going to take off. Now be very careful when you're taking off the back tile because there's not much room and you don't want to damage anything. Now when we mount this, the rear stand stem that comes up on the right hand side of the Venator, if you're facing the same direction of the Venator, is where this hook is going to go into. And the front stand is going to rest right in this notch on the top. So hook into this hole, stand on top of this notch. Put your hand under the back of the Venator as you're taking these pins out, because it will fall down. And have your hand on the back side, because you're going to want to move it out of the way. Lift the Venator up and look right through the hole for that stud. And that's it. You're mounted. I think it should be at a little bit more of an angle. Yep, there it goes. Always check the bottom. Make sure you're sitting flat on the clear plate. And then just put it back together. And once we carefully put our case lid back onto the base, being real careful because it's a tight fit around the Venator, we have a masterpiece. Wicked Brick outdid themselves once again. Back design is beautiful. The design of Coruscant underneath the ship is gorgeous. And I just love what they did with the plaque section on this set. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I did making this setup. I am not sponsored or paid by Wicked Brick or Lego. I just love building Legos, and I especially love what Wicked Brick does with the displays of these sets. So please like, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll see you on the next one.